Hello friends, welcome back to the channel and thanks for subscribing to the channel. In this video we are going to learn how we can create this data table with paginations, with filters, with edit, delete and add. And also we are going to learn how we can create Laravel form request validation. So stay up to the end of the video to learn about Laravel and View CRUD operation. So let's start by creating this application. So first thing that I will do is come to my resources JS and inside the pages I will create a new folder with the name of teachers.view, and in here I will create a template. Inside this template for now I will just create an h1 tag with the hello world. Now I have to register this component, so I will go to app.js, and inside the app.js I have to import it here. Import teachers from pages slash teachers, and in here I will type app.component teachers comma teachers. So it's been registered. Now I also have to create a route for this, so I will come in the routes.js. In here I will import it again. I will type import teachers from pages slash teachers, and I will create a new route for this, so I will type path teachers, and I will say use teachers component, so I will type component teachers. Let's add a comma in here. Now everything is set. Now let's go to our sidebar and create a link for our teachers. Let's go to our views, layout and sidebar. In here let's create a new link. Let's copy this, paste it here, and give it a name of teachers. In here we will also say link to teachers. So now let's save everything. Let's go to our browser. Okay, the teachers is here. Let's click okay. Our component is working. Now let's create a HTML table to display our data. So let's go to back to our VS Code inside our teachers component and remove this. In here I will create a new div, and inside this card I will create a table, HTML table, and give it a class name of table border text center, and create a table head. I will type th and name, then one more email, phone, and at the end I will create a salary. Now let's create our script. So in here I will type script, and inside here the first thing that we need is the axios, so I will type import axios from axios to fetch data from the server. Then I will type export default, and in here I will create my data, so I will type data, and inside the data I will return teachers, and in here I will say the type of this is object, and the default value would be null, so I will type default null. Okay, so now let's create our method. So after the data I will add comma, and I will type methods. Inside a method I will create a new method with the name of get teachers, and inside this method I will call my axios. So I will type axios dot get the URL. For now I will type URL, and after that I have to send the token with the in the header, so I will add comma, and inside here I will type headers authorization barrier, and get the token from the local storage. So I will type local storage dot get item and token. Now after this I have to create my then method which will act as a success. So I will type dot then, and in here I will create an arrow function with the data as a parameter, and I will say console.log data, and I also have to catch the error, so I will type catch, and again I will create a arrow function with the error key as a parameter, then console.log error. So the structure is ready. Now let's go and create our controller method and the route for this. So first thing I will come inside my controllers, inside teachers controller, and in here I will create my method. So I will type public function get data request, and in here I will create a new variable with the name of items, or let's call it teachers is equal to teacher model get all, and return teachers. So our controller is ready. Now let's go and create a API for this. So let's come to our routes APIs, and in here we don't want any user which is not authorized to access our APIs. So from now on we are going to work all our APIs inside this auth sanctum to protect our APIs. So let's copy this and remove the rest. In here let's type route middleware and paste it inside here. Now let's create a group. We will type group function, and inside this function we are going to write our APIs. So let's add the functions brackets. Now let's type our first route in here. So I will type route get teachers, and inside teachers controller class get data. Okay, our route is ready. Let's copy this and go to our teachers component. In here let's type API slash teachers. Okay, everything is I think set. Now let's create our mounted function. So I will type mounted, and inside this I will say call my method. So I will type this dot get teachers. Okay, now let's save everything. Let's go to browser. Okay, let's refresh one time. Okay, the page is loaded, but we have to wait to get our data because we have around 40,000 records, so it will take time. So we got our data. Now let's go and add this data to our table. So let's go back to VS Code and scroll up inside in the table. Now let's create the table body. So I will type table body t body, and in here I will add a condition vf is equal to teacher. Okay, let's change this to teachers so it will be easier to understand. if teachers is available, and teachers dot length greater than 0, then create TRs. Now in here loop we have to loop so we can get all the teachers and display them inside our HTML table. In normal HTML, to loop through our data, we use for each, like this, for each $sign teachers. uh, Notice that in here I use the plural as $sign teacher, and in here singular, and at the end we use to end our for each loop. In normal HTML, first you use plural then singular, but in Vue.js it's reverse. We will type, like for example, ve4. Now in here I will type teacher the singular, then instead of as I will type in teachers the plural. Now in we also have to create the key, so I will type colon key, and we can type it teacher dot id. So this is the formula for loop. If you want to remember, just remember it's the reverse of blade. In blade, first you type the plural then singular, but in view first you type the singular then the plural. So let's remove this, and in here let's create our first td, which is name. So I will type colon teacher dot name, and let's copy this 3 more times and change the name to email. This one is phone, and this one is salary. Now let's go to our axios. In here let's assign the teachers. This dot teachers is equal to data dot data. Okay, now let's go to browser. Now let's change the page and come back. Okay, let's go to network pending. Let's wait until it fetch all the data. Okay, the data is ready. Now we can see all our data inside the table. So but in here we have a problem, that because the amount of our data is too much, it takes a lot of time and to fetch, and a lot of time to render. So now let's go and see how we can fix this. So let's go to browser, and in here I will open my terminal, and I will install npm install vue.js paginate dash next. Okay, the package has been installed. Now I have to import it. So after the axios, I will type import paginate from vue.js paginate dash next, and I will register this inside the default. So in here I will type components, and inside here paginate. Now after that I will create two variables with the name of current page, and give it a value of 1, and last page, and this one is also for now 1. Now I have to pass the current page with my URL as a parameter. So in here I will type $sign page is equal to this dot current page, and in my controller, teachers controller, in here in the state of all, I will change this now to paginate and number of records we want per page. So I want 10 records per page, I will write 10. Now back to our view component. Let's go to here. Let's console.log our teachers to see what we get. So instead of data, I will type this dot teachers. Now let's go to browser. Let's open the console. Let's refresh the page. Now if I come to data, as you guys can see in here, we got our data, and with data we also got first page, last page, first page URL, last page, next page URL, two, and total of records, all we got in here. So I also need my last page, so in here I will copy this, and in after the console I will type this dot last page is equal to data dot last page, and uh, here I will also change add one more data, so it will be data. Now if I go back to browser and refresh, okay, we got our data. So now let's go to our VS Code back, and after the table I will type in here, I will type paginate v dash model, our current page, which is this, and I will type page count is equal to our last page. Then after that I will type click handler is equal to our function, which is this. We can also set our previews and next text, so I will type prev text is equal to prev, and next text is equal to next, like this one also, and as a string. Okay, it's done. Let's close this tag, close this. Okay, now let's save everything. Okay, it's like this. Now let's save everything and let's go back to browser. Let's scroll down. As you guys can see, we got our pagination. So now if I click the second, the data will change to second page. If I go to third, my data will come, and also if I go to last page, as you guys can see, I get the record. Similarly, I can get the first record. So this part is done. Now I want to also create filters for my table, so the user can be able to filter data based on the name, email, phone, or salary. So let's head back to the VS Code, and in here in the top of the table I will create a new div with the class of row. Okay, so our inputs are ready. Let's go to browser and check it. As you guys can see, our inputs are ready. Now let's go back to our component, and in all the input types we have to bind our functions in the key app. So I will type add key app is equal to get teachers my function name uh, this one. So let's copy this and replace them. Now I also have to send these to with the Axios, so I will copy them and create a data for them inside the script. So in the data after the page, in here I will paste all of them and give each of them an initial value of null. So by default they have to be null. Now I also want to send them with the Axios. So in the Axios, after the header I will type comma and I will type params, and inside params I will add my data names. So these are the names, and give them the value of this dot the same names. So it's ready now that we have created params, so we don't need this here also. So I can also type page this dot current page and remove it from here, so no need for this. Okay, our component is ready. Now let's go to our controller. Everything is ready set here. Now in the teacher's controller, before pagination I will type query. This query is just for make it easy for readability for eyes. So I will type query and enter. When dollar sign request name, then function query, and use dollar sign request and return dollar sign query, where name is equal to dollar sign request name that we get from the user. So in here my condition is, I said when request has a name, then and then do a query where name is equal to request and name. So we have to repeat this 3 more times. So let's copy this and paste 1 2 3. And now in the state of name I will type email, and in the state of phone name this time I will type phone and also salary. And also one more in here, let's add the pagination arrow. So everything is set. Let's save this. Here it's also done, and the teacher's also done. Now let's go to browser and check our data. So let's refresh. Okay, our data is here. Now for example, if I want to check search based on this salary, let me copy and paste it in the salaries. As you guys can see, it only shows me the record which have this salary. So let's remove, and this time let's search by, for example, this name. Okay, it's working also. Let's check the email. Okay, the email is also working. Now let's check the phone number. mm, for example, this phone. Yeah, so this is how we can create our data table with pagination and filters in Laravel and View. Now let's go and create our add, edit and delete. So let's go to our VS Code and create a new component inside our page folder and give it a name of add teacher.view. And inside here let's create template. Now let's create a div with a class of card and one more div with a class of card body. Then inside here I will create my form. And inside the form, let's copy everything from the filters so it will be easy. And let's copy this, our filters, because everything is ready in here. Let's copy, paste it here. Let's remove these key apps. Okay, everything is set. Now let's create our script. So in here I will type script, and first thing, because I'm posting data to server, I will import Axios. Then after the Axios I will type export default, and in here I will create my data. Inside the data I will copy it again from here. Let's return, then add them in here. Now after the data I have to create my method to post, so I will type method, and inside the method I will create my method with the name of add teacher, and inside the add teacher method I will type axios dot post my URL, for now URL. Then in the second parameter I will send my data. So same thing that we did here, let's copy this and paste it back in here. We don't need the page in here. And in the third parameter of my Axios, I will send the header with the token. So I will type header authorization there, and take it from the local storage. So local storage dot get item token. Now in the success method, when it's done, then I will type then create an arrow function and give it a parameter of response or res, and inside here I will, first of all I will say console.log res, and after that I will say, we after submitting the form, if it was successful, we want to go back to my teachers data table. So in here I will type, to redirect this I will type this dot dollar sign router dot push and my teacher's route. Now I have to also create, if it fails what should it do, so I will type catch and again arrow function with a parameter of error and con console.log error. So let's check. We have to type in here in our form at submit dot prevent is equal to my method name. So let's copy it from here, paste it in here, and also let's create a button to submit this. So I will type button type is equal to button, class is equal to button dash danger, and submit. Okay, everything is set now. Now let's go to our app.js and register our components. So in here I will again copy this, paste it in here, and instead of teachers I will type add teacher, and instead of here also instead of teachers I will type add teacher, and also copy this here. Let's type add teacher, and in here also add teacher. Okay, this one is done. Now let's create a route for this. So inside routes.js, let's do copy paste in here also. Copy, paste, add teacher, same thing that we did in the app.js. In here we also have to do it. Now one more copy and paste. So the URL will be add dash or like this, add teachers, and use the add teacher component. Okay, everything is set. Now let's create our API. So in APIs, in here I will type route post add teacher and use the teachers controller class create. Now let's go to our teachers controller and create our method. So in here I will type public function create request $request. Actually, let's create a form request for this so we can do validation in here. So let's open our terminal, and in terminal in here let's type php artisan make request add teacher request to create a new request for our validation. So let's hit enter. Okay, it's done. Now inside our request in here, let's change this to true or tries true, and inside rules let's copy our fields. So name, email, phone, and salary. Now inside our request we will paste all of them, I, and let's say all of them are required. So this is how we can create a form validations in Laravel. Okay, now back to our teachers controller. In the state of request, I will type add teacher request. Okay, now in here I will create a new variable with the name of items and say new teachers, and I also items name is equal to $request name, what we get from the request. And similarly let's type it three more times. Items email is equal to request email, and $items phone is equal to request dash phone, and the last one is salary. So let's type salary is equal to request salary, and at the end let's save all of them and return response JSON with 200 code, which means success. And let's send a message also. So message added successfully. Okay, everything is set. Now inside our teachers component, let's create a button in the top so we can access our add teacher component. So in here I will type router dash link to the route that we create in here. So it was a slash add teachers. Let's copy this and paste it in here, then give it a class of button dash then success, so it looks like a button. And in here I will type add. Okay, so everything is set. Now let's go to our browser and check them. So let's open the browser. We have an error, the first error, and okay, we forgot the semicolon inside our API. So let's, okay, it's already done. Let's refresh our page. Okay, it's here. Let's click add. As you guys can see, it's ready. Now let's go to our inspect and inside our console to check if we face any errors. So I will type AA, and in here I will type B and phone number, something like this, and I will keep the salary empty to check my validation. So I will click this. Now, okay, our submit button is not working. Let's go and fix this. So inside our add teacher, in a set of button, the type we have to change the type to submit. So now let's save. Now let's go back to browser, click here. We got an error. So that if we come and open the response, in here we can see that the post, okay, we have one more problem. So we created, okay, it's done. We forgot the URL in here to add the URL. So let's copy the URL, API slash our URL. So in here, let's add the URL, save everything. Now let's go back and clear. Okay, this, and the salary empty. Okay, we got the error, and the message is said that salary field is required. So now let's add the salary also. Okay, now let's click submit. Okay, it's done. Now let's check our data in the last page. Okay, as you guys can see, it saved successfully. Now we have to create our edit and delete. So let's go back to VS Code and create our edit and delete. So for that, in my teachers component inside my main table, I will create one more table row, table TD, and let's give him a table header of action. Inside here, first I will create a button. So I will type input type button, and value is equal to delete class is equal button danger, and in here I will type at click is equal to delete data and pass my teacher ID. So I will type teacher dot id. Now let's close this and create this delete data method. So let's come to our script inside methods, and after our get teachers method, in here I will create my method. So I will type in axios dot. Now to delete a record, we use delete. Our route type will be delete. So I will type delete and my URL, for now just URL. Then in the second parameter, I will pass my header. So let's copy it from here, paste it here, and don't forget to take ID as a parameter. Then after this, I will type my then method, same like previous, arrow function, and response. If success, then call this get function to refresh our data table. Else, or sorry, catch error and console.log error. Okay, let's create our API for this. So in my APIs, after the edit, so I will create a new route, delete, and I will name it delete teacher and pass the ID. Same, I will type teachers controller class and the method name. Now we have to create the method name. So I will go to my teachers controller. Let's go to our teachers controller. In here, let's create a new method, public function delete, and we will get the ID as a parameter. Then I will type teachers find $ID delete and return response as a JSON with a message of deleted successfully with 200 code. Okay, this part is done. Let's copy our delete and paste it inside our teacher. So in here I will type API slash add teacher slash the ID that we get. So ID. Now let's save everything. Let's go to browser. Okay, let's try to delete this. Delete. Okay, let's refresh. Delete this. Okay, it's deleting, but it's not calling our function. So let's go back to our teacher, and instead of get teachers, let's type this dot get teachers. Now if I go back and delete this, as you guys can see, it deletes and refresh my table. So this is the how we can create our delete. Now let's go back to VS Code and create our edit. For that, I will create a new component in here with the name of edit teacher dot view, and I will copy everything from add teacher because it's very similar to our add teacher. So I will copy everything from here and paste it inside here. Now instead of add teacher, I will just type edit teacher and copy this, paste it here. In here nothing else will change except the URL. So for now URL, and everything is set. So we also want to read our data when the page loads the first time. So in here I will type mounted, and inside this I will make an axios. So let's type axios dot get, then my URL. So I have for now URL. Then in the second parameter I will send the header with the token. So let's copy it from here and paste it inside here. Then in here I will type then an arrow function with response as a parameter. For now console.log response, and if we face any error then catch it, and error, then arrow function and console.log the error. Now let's create our URL to get the data. So let's go to our API, and in here let's type create our new API, and let's say get teacher. So and again inside our teacher controller class and get teacher. Let's fix this one also. Let's copy this. So in here we have to also pass the parameters. So I will type the ID. Now it's set. Now let's go. And down here let's type public function, our method name, and the parameter, the id that we get from parameter. So again let's create a variable item is equal to teacher, find $id, find, and let's return this. So return $item. Now let's create the routes for our components. So in here I will come and I will type import edit teacher from page slash edit teacher, and in here let's create a link. So in here instead of add teacher I will type edit underscore teacher, and we also have to pass the id. So I will type colon id, and I will the component is this one. So our routes is also ready. Now let's go back to our teachers component. In here in the table, let's add one more inside this td. Let's type router dash link to slash edit teachers. This is our route which we created in here. So let's copy this and paste it inside our teachers. So then we have to get the id. For that, in I will type in here, I will make it as a string, and I will teacher dot id, sorry, plus. Then let's give it a class of button dash success, and give it a value of edit. Now let's go to browser. Let's edit this teacher. Let's click edit. We are here. Okay, good. Now inside the edit teacher, let's assign our url. So in here I will type dot slash api slash get teachers and slash my id that I get from the route. So in here I will type this dot dollar sign route dot params dot id, and I have to also set these values. So let's copy them from here, and let's give them an initial value. So in here I will paste them, and I will say this dot is equal to response dot data dot what we get from the url, sorry, what we get from the response. Set them in here. Now let's go to browser. Okay, as you guys can see, it's even if I refresh, now when the data will load, it will add the values in here. So it's done. Now we have to we have to create the submit. Now let's go and create another url for this. So let's go back to api, and in here let's create a new apis route. This is post, so I will type route update teacher, and send the id with it. So id in teachers controller colon class and update method. So this is done. Let's create this method. Let's type public function update and $id. In here, let's copy everything from the teachers because it from the create method because it's exactly same, and paste it here, and in the state of save change it to update, and this one also we will change it to find $id, sorry, uh, teachers find $id, and this will in here we also have to pass the request because we are sending the request. Okay, and let's return a response as a JSON with the message of successfully updated, and give it a 200 code. Okay, it's done. Now let's copy this update teacher URL to our edit teachers in here. So instead of URL, I will type /API slash update teacher and the ID that we get from the URL. So let's copy this for that we just created. Okay, everything is set. Now let's go and update a teacher. So I'm going to update this teacher. Now let's refresh. Let's add, for example, 1 2 3 here, 1 2 3 here also, and here also. To check, let's click submit. Okay, we have got an error. Let's check this the error. Okay, we forgot the slash in here. Now let's go back and back in the console. Let's clear it. Let's click update this. Click save, submit. Okay, as you guys can see, it updated it. So this is the way how we can make a CRUD application in Laravel and Vue. Thanks for watching, and if you like the video, please don't forget to press the subscribe and like button, and if you have any questions, write it down in the comment.